Titan. Let's try that again. Unmute the mic. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's show, Titans, the day after the Titans suffer a crushing 40-14 defeat to the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. We'll talk about that. We'll look forward to next week's game against the Houston Texans for the AFC South Championship. The Titans may be missing a critical player on their roster. We'll talk about that. We'll look at Derrick Henry's quest for 2,000 yards and what went wrong in the snow day game against the Packers. We'll talk about that and much more with several special guests in the house. We'll talk about it next. All right, and welcome back to the show, everyone. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Breaking news right off the bat on Titans the day after. This afternoon, the Titans and the NFL announced that kicker Stephen Gostkowski has been placed on the NFL COVID reserve list. We do not know if Gostkowski has tested positive for COVID or if he's just a close contact to someone who has COVID, but nevertheless, his availability for next Sunday against the Houston Texans is now in jeopardy. And joining me tonight to talk about it, I have a couple of special guests. I have the Blue Enforcer, Titans in Truth in the house. And then I have Mr. Two-Tone and D. Weeze from the Two-Tone Zone. We are all in the house to discuss it tonight. Guys, welcome to the show. How was everyone's Christmas? And how is everything going on this Monday after a difficult loss to the Green Bay Packers?
Like an emotional roller coaster.
We'll go with you first, my man.
Well, I mean, it's Christmas is great. I hope everybody else had a great Merry Christmas as well. But at the same time, last night's encounter just had me just really messed up in my feelings. I felt like I had some nightmares of snow games past, so it definitely crept in my mind. But glad to be joining Two-Tone Zone for the first time and of many more to come.
Right.
Awesome. Two-Tone, D. Weeze, what's going on, fellas? Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having us, brother, man. We appreciate it. And it's great to be in the presence of Mr. Big Blue Enforcer over there, man. It was a long time overdue. So salute to you, sir. And as far as Christmas goes, I had a blessed day with the family. We got to open some gifts, we got to fellowship together, and as far as that game goes last night, it's like an emotional roller coaster for me. So I went on a really big high to a really big low. So now we got to, kind of figure it out and look forward to week 17 against these Texans.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. D. Wiz, welcome back, brother. How's it going, man?
Kenmore, always glad to be in your presence, brother. Appreciate you.
No
Mr. Titan,
doubt.
the truth. Hey, salute to you, sir. Definitely a big fan. Definitely happy to be here with you as well. Hey, Christmas was good. The fam is good. The kids are good. Everybody's good. We just happy, we can share this day with each other. But I'll tell you one thing: cheese is not served at my house anymore. We don't eat no cheese no more. No cheese around here. If I see it, it's going in the garbage. All right.
Oh, dang.
I'm emotionally hurt right now. I was stayed up late last night watching the game. I was all over the place, but hey, I'm just happy to be here with you, brothers. Let's talk about it. Let's get down to it, and let's see what we can figure out.
All right. Well, first of all, guys, let's talk about the breaking news that we got this afternoon. We were the first team to deal with the COVID situation back in week 3, I believe it was. Now it's come full circle here in week 17. Stephen Gostkowski, placed on the COVID reserve list, may or may not be available for this Sunday against the Texans. If he is not available, how much of an impact will that be to this football team?
Huge impact on our football team. I know that he's definitely missed quite a few field goals in the beginning of the season, but he's definitely won some games for us in the season as well as the past. So, he's definitely an asset to have on our team. And as far as I'm concerned, man, like I'm not shocked to see him show up on the COVID list, with this pandemic and us being the first to actually be stricken with it throughout the NFL. But at the end of the day, we just got to be, next man up. So my question is, who's going to be next up? We have a couple guys on the practice squad, but we just got to hope that these games don't come down to any field goals in week 17.
We got a guy named Sam Sloman who's currently on the practice squad. So apparently he would be the next man up. I don't know much about him, but apparently he would be the next man up.
Got you.
Yeah. And I mean, that is pretty unfortunate that happened. I mean, at this point in time, I mean, I know Gostkowski, like everybody said, has struggled mightily. Thank goodness for the LA Chargers kicker. He hasn't missed the most kicks anymore, but it's a concern. It's definitely a concern. We know Sam Sloman, I believe, kicked for the Rams last, and I mean, I believe he was, from what I remember, he was like 8 of 11 on his kicks, so about 72%. So that's about the same as Gostkowski. I mean, but you also got Tucker McCann, who's on the practice squad, the undrafted free agent from Missouri. And I mean, I know he has the leg, but his accuracy is not that great.
Right.
So I mean, I think Sloman would probably get the call if needed for this game. Just, I mean, out of addition by subtraction, and
right.
just by the experience about the stats. It's just unfortunate. I mean, I know it happens. This pandemic is crazy. It's hurt everybody, but it's like it's biting us once again. Just won't leave us alone.
Yeah, bad luck seems to be the story of our franchise at times. We've definitely had those miracles, historic miracles that have happened, but we've also been stricken by some bad luck. So it's like a balance of that. Do you guys know what happened to Giorgio Tavecchio when he was on our practice squad? Nickname Italian Ice. Why did we get rid of him?
I do not. I can't answer that question. I don't know.
It kind of just like went underneath the radar there. I was actually maybe looking forward to seeing him if we did. That was when we were going through the ups and downs with Gostkowski. He seemed to figure it out as of now. But hey, first and foremost, I just hope he's okay. Whatever it is, hopefully he overcomes that for sure. Comes out healthy. Comes out on top.
Yeah, hopefully Sloman, he comes if we need him. Hopefully he comes through for us. I think his longest field goal was 42 yards.
Yeah.
So a little questionable in that category on how long how long that leg is. 18 for 21 on extra points in his career. So if he can get 40 plus, I'm not asking for too much, but if we can stay between that 40 and 50 range and he can get us those field goals when we need them, I'll take it. But he doesn't look like a bad option. I mean, we've had him since November 24th. So he's been around. He's been proving himself. So we have him now. Let's put him to use.
Right.
Yeah, good deal. And I was upset last night when the game first started because I was on Mr. Titan's pregame show, and we talked about the beginning of the game. And my thought was, if we win the coin toss, let's take the ball.
For sure.
The offense is our strongest unit.
Yes.
But we win the coin toss and we defer. We put our defense on the field, and then Gostkowski kicks the ball out of bounds.
Right.
Gives Aaron Rodgers great field position at the 40-yard line to start the ball game. So all night last night, all day today, I'm upset with Gostkowski for kicking the ball out of bounds. And then he gets COVID this afternoon, and I'm like, no, we need Gostkowski. So my emotions have been just all over the place with Gostkowski. It's a love-hate relationship with this guy, man. It's like you can't live with him, but you can't live without him.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, guys, before we get into the show, let everyone know where they can find you, your YouTube channel, your social media handles. Blue Enforcer, we'll start with you.
Well, if you don't know, now you'll know. Come check me out on Titans and Truth on YouTube. You can search for it right there in the name. It's easy to find. You'll see my big face on there, so it's not hard to find. TNT Enforcers, that's the group page on Facebook. On Instagram, at Titans_N_Truth, as well as Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. That's with the number 4 in it. So that's where you can follow me and find all my you can follow me. I'll have a lot of stuff on Facebook. I have a lot of stuff on YouTube. I'm getting my Instagram up a little bit better, and I'm trying to slowly get my Twitter fingers together and do a little bit more on Twitter. So that's where you can find my content. Y'all come on in Wednesdays at 6:30. I'll have another show. I'll be doing a post game later tonight. That'll come out probably about morning, and then we'll be doing a show, a live one on Wednesday, getting ready for this Titanic Week 17.
All right, good deal. And Two-Tone, you guys have been on the show before, but again, let everybody know where they can find you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us here on YouTube. It's Two-Tone Zone. Just as it says on my hat here, it's the number 2, Tone Zone, and that's all one word. You can also find us on Instagram. It's _official Two-Tone Zone. Feel free to come follow us on Instagram, and we're also on Twitter. That's at Two-Tone Zone Show on Twitter. So, feel free to come check us out anytime, any day of the week. We're always keeping it real. We try to find the humor, but we also try to make sure we dial in on these Titans and make sure we dissect what's going to be the best moves for our franchise. So we like to consider ourselves a part of the franchise, a part of the coaching staff, and part of the team.
Yeah, we got a great Titans community. Titan Upload, Mr. Titan. You guys have all been part of the community. I'm kind of new to the program, so just getting started. So we want everybody to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, get your comments in the comment section. We'll go for about 40-45 minutes here tonight. If the show gets interesting, we may go a little bit longer. But let's dive into yesterday's game. We were all looking forward to the Sunday night game. We wanted the snowy conditions. We thought that would be very good for Derrick Henry and the offensive line. And it seems like it worked in reverse. Our wide receivers could not get open downfield. Right. Our defense was slipping and sliding all over the field last night. We gave up a season-high 234 rushing yards last night. That was quite shocking to me. It looks like our defense looked like teams trying to tackle Derrick Henry. They wanted no part of Dillon or Aaron Jones running the rock for Green Bay. What were you guys' overall takeaways from the ball game last night? Blue Enforcer, we'll go with you.
Well, I'm glad I did do a post game last night, because I would have been just all upset all over the place. So I needed a little bit of a drink called the change up to kind of help me, feel better. And I was like, last night's just not a good night to do it. I needed to let this kind of blow over. But I mean, we looked bad in all three phases. We looked bad in every which way we could. And as the game got started, it just again, the nightmare of 59-0 was living in my head. It was like, is this gonna happen again? And as soon as it was snowing, as soon as I saw snow in the forecast, I'm like, oh no, not Lambeau Field with snow. I'm like, that's the worst thing we could have happen. I'm like, I thought the condition would be good for Derrick Henry, but at the same time, with the snow, I'm like, oh no, not snow. This is all we need. This is not what we need. Because, I mean, again, Packers are prepared for that. Aaron Rodgers has been playing in that snow for 15 years. We've never played in snow like that before. So that's something that we weren't used to. I mean, offense just looked terrible at all levels. Tannehill probably had his worst game as a Titan.
For sure.
Derrick Henry just did not seem to have it going, even when he had a couple of nice runs. But it just, even if he had made 100 yards, it would have been like the worst 100-yard game of his career had he made it by 2 yards. I mean, A.J. Brown looked like he's dinged up. I don't know what's going on with that. Corey Davis being catchless is something that I found disturbing. O-line didn't look the part. Defense, don't even get me started on them, how horrible they look. They look like complete and utter gutter trash, every last one of them. David Long was the only one that looked like he gave up. He cared. He's the only one. Everybody else stunk, especially Adoree Jackson. He embarrassed himself last night. Just seemed like he didn't want to be there, or he seemed a step slow to me. He seemed very much a step slow. I mean, I know Devontae Adams was on the other side, but Adoree just looked pitiful last night. Please tell me I'm wrong.
What's up? We got another entry into the house. Mr. Titan has joined the party here tonight. What's going on, Mr. Titan? Welcome to the show, buddy.
What's up, y'all? I had to stop in real quick, just to give my thoughts. It's gonna be maybe like a 10-minute thing. Just jump in here. Feeling like crap. I gotta take a COVID test tomorrow, so that's how my day's going, especially with the Titans losing. So again,
you was hanging out with Goskowski.
But yeah, so thank you guys for letting me join in.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. Well, we're just talking about the recap on the game yesterday, so we'll let you jump the line since you're not feeling well and you want to go ahead and get your thoughts in. Tell us your thoughts on what happened last night.
All right. First things first, everyone's blaming the refs, this and that. Yeah, the refs had, there was some blame, like there was obviously they messed up a couple times, right? But you can't put it all on the refs. We can't just leave it up to them. I mean, we got our asses handed to us, regardless. They came to play, we didn't come. We looked like we were frozen. Our secondary looked frozen. I don't know if it was Sunday night and it was Lambeau. I saw on Instagram there was a bunch of Titan players just videotaping. Am I frozen?
No, you're good. You're good.
I think Fritz is frozen.
Oh, he looked good.
He was hey, you got me good though. I really thought that you were frozen. I'm like, oh shit, here it goes again. But yeah, they seemed like they were just in shock of just the magnitude, the game itself, and it was just, they didn't come prepared. It didn't look like a playoff team that was on the brink of going to the playoffs. Again, we talked about the Steelers and stuff, but the Steelers, they came back, they fought back, and the Titans just didn't look any shape ready to play that game yesterday.
Agreed.
Two-Tone, what you got?
I mean, just like Big Blue Enforcer said and Mr. Titan, I mean, I'm going to piggyback off that. But I like to think of the game as 4 phases. We got out-coached as well.
Yep.
Definitely got out-coached. There was no reason why Derrick Henry should have been on the sideline on, 3rd and 4 situations. Run the football. Definitely run the football. Another thing, too, is just we definitely we weren't mentally prepared. we definitely were like, I wouldn't say we were scared. It was just we were playing. We were tiptoeing around on the field. We were unsure of ourselves, no confidence, and these guys came out and just mentally just tore us apart. Aaron Rodgers is having a good time, laughing and joking, and it's high energy on defense. These guys are blitzing almost every play. I mean, there was just no energy for us, absolutely none. So
I agree. I think the thing that we saw yesterday, which a lot of people might not like it, is that if the Tennessee Titans play an elite quarterback, we're not going to win, guys. It's just the defense is too on and off. We're not going to be able to beat a Mahomes. We're not going to be able to beat a Rodgers. Yeah, we can beat a Lamar Jackson if he has an off day. Yeah, we have his number. But an elite quarterback that could run and can throw the ball consistently down the field, they'll pick us apart all day. Even the broadcasters showed how far Malcolm Butler was playing off.
Was it like it was like 11.5 yards? I think it was.
It was 9.2. I'm like
9.2.
Yeah, I was like
way too much.
And you'll understand how many other teams are watching the Sunday Night Football. Like, oh, okay, I see what the Titans do.
Right.
Like, Aaron Rodgers was just having a field day. We had no pressure whatsoever against Aaron Rodgers. They hit him a couple times, but still had all day to pass the ball. Again, it comes down to, at the end of the day, the Tennessee Titans will eventually lose the game because of a quarterback, because of defense, because of pressure to the QB. If we don't put any pressure, I mean, we can tiptoe and sneak some games out in the playoffs. Again, anything can happen in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. I want the Titans to do good,
right?
But we're gonna get to that roadblock, and I don't even know about getting to the AFC Championship now.
I mean, even a sack and even an interception didn't do anything for us.
It didn't do anything,
which is sad.
So, right,
heartbreaking.
Right. D Weeks, jump in, man. What was your takeaway from the ball game last night?
Man, that Packers offense, 27 first downs, time of possession, 36 minutes, 4 out of 8 on third down. That's tough. Like Mr. Titan was saying, we can't get off the field. I think we gave like 9 first downs in the first quarter. Like on that first drive, it was just ridiculous. I was first down after first down after first down. I was like, second and 8, and they're getting the first down on us. We got to get these boys off the field.
Right.
So it was tough. It was tough to watch us. I had a little bit of hope when I saw Tannehill bring out the Jets. I was like, hey, this is a game now. 14-19.
At that point, I agree with Vrabel getting the ball, but deferring at the beginning of the game. Because it's just like we definitely started the second half just killing it, and then all of a sudden, hey, it's gone, just like that.
And I'm gonna add this in. Two-Tone, you said it. We got out coached very much as well, and Vrabel needs to games like these is why we needed a defensive coordinator. Yes, players have to execute. That much is true, and that has been an issue. But the problem is we had about this same amount of talent last year, and, Dean Pease made something out of nothing. I mean, listen to this alarming stat. The Tennessee Titans last year had 43 sacks on the year, and we thought that was bad. We thought, okay, that sucks. Only 43 sacks. They only have 15 this season. Man. That's 28 sacks less than last year. Now, a lot of those sacks were Jarrell Casey and Logan Ryan. That's about half of them that were gone.
Harold Landry as well. He had like 11 sacks last year.
Harold Landry is regressing tremendously. I think a lot of it is he's got to play a whole bunch of snaps, and we have nobody else on the other side of him, which, again, I thought about this, and I texted in on Jared and the GM today. I said, Vrabel's arrogance is going to kill us in the long run. He needs to go ahead and admit, you know what? I don't know everything defensively. Even though I'm a defensive guy, I need help myself. I am not as great as I thought I was. Maybe a defensive coordinator could help. He don't even have to say that publicly, but maybe even privately, he needs to be like, you know what? Okay, I'm not as great of a defensive coordinator as I thought I was. Maybe I need a little help. I need to quit thinking I can do this all by myself. because that just it seems like he's arrogant and he doesn't want to admit his own mistakes, but he wants to hold everybody else accountable. He won't hold himself accountable. And I just think that arrogance is going to destroy us. I mean, if we look at his track record, he stinks as a defensive coordinator. He doesn't know that. He should know that, to have a little bit of help. The one game he did have defensive coordinator, he stuck when Dean Pease had to go. Yeah. With Houston, 32nd in the league. I mean,
and he had JJ Watt. He had JJ, a healthy JJ, and a healthy Clowney, and he still sucked.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like dead last.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Truth, but I just had to say that because it's driving me.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, I was babbling.
And on the surface, Vrabel does admit, he say, we got out coach. He'll say it like during the pressers, but it's just like behind the scenes, are you really making the adjustments and holding yourself accountable and taking your pride out of your back pocket and making that move? So from what we see, it's definitely not happening.
Right. I did see them try some different things. Like I saw Kevin Byard come on a blitz last night.
Yeah, Desmond King came on a couple.
Right. I saw them try. I at least saw them try a couple of different things last night. But I think, for me personally, and I definitely agree with you guys on Vrabel, but I think it started with John Robinson because, and me and Blue Enforcer, we talked about this about a month ago when we were comparing Seattle to Tennessee. And Seattle and Tennessee were mirror images of each other up until about a month ago when they added Carlos Dunlap. They went out and got Carlos Dunlap. They got Jamal Adams back. They traded like 2 first-round picks for him early in the year. He got hurt, then he came back. Now Seattle has one of the best defenses in the NFC, and they were as bad as we were about 5 weeks ago. So the only move that we made during this season was to get Desmond King. Did y'all see Desmond King get tortured last night?
He was frozen.
He got tortured last night.
Frozen 3 with Desmond King.
So I understand the criticism of Vrabel. But But
Malcolm Butler got burnt too.
He did, but Malcolm Butler's been solid. I mean, everybody's going to get burnt at some point. But for me, it starts with John Robinson. I think he had a horrible offseason. I don't think he gave Vrabel much to work with. Obviously, we're all excited about Clowney. I don't know anybody that was excited about Vic Beasley. I don't know anybody that was excited to see Logan Ryan walk. And oh, by the way, the New York Giants just gave him a contract extension that he actually to give him. So losing those guys, not replacing them, I put that at the feet of the general manager. And is it the general manager that didn't want to pay for a defensive coordinator? I don't know if that's the case, but I think there's enough blame to go around.
Right. And we'll never know. We'll never know.
It's a young defense. I mean, it's a young defense.
You got some veteran pieces to go along with that.
Absolutely, and like I said, we lost a lot of veteran pieces. A Logan Ryan, a Wesley Woodyard, Jarrell Casey. Those we've realized how much of an impact those players were. Yeah, they might have been slowly declining. Yeah, they're getting up in there maybe in age and stuff like that. But their product and their leadership for that young defense, I mean, was everything. And now we look at a very young defense that half of them might not even be there next year. So now we have to look at the draft and start picking some pieces because I don't think. What about a Rashawn Evans who's been making boneheaded plays, or a Jayon Brown or something like that? Yeah. Are these guys going to be here?
We started on Rashawn.
But if we paid those veteran guys on defense, where was the money going to come from to pay Tannehill or Derrick Henry to keep those guys on the team?
That's true.
We had to give those guys the bag. We kind of had to pick.
But they were already paid before that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's allocation of assets when I think about it, because why are you paying Vic Beasley this amount of money, but then you're not paying Logan Ryan or Jarrell Casey, 2 guys that have gotten you to the brink of a Super Bowl, and then you want to go and get a guy that's shown over the last 2 or 3 years that he's really not motivated to play football. He's only motivated to cash a check. We're going to switch gears, guys, a little bit. Now, I talked about this on Mr. Titan's show yesterday, and we talked about the keys to the game. And I stated that the key to the game was going to be the beginning of the ball game. We would know what type of game we were going to get within the first 1 to 2 series of the ball game. And I looked this up this afternoon, and this is what the Titans have looked like in 4 of the 5 losses this season. This is how we've started the ball games. Pittsburgh down 14-0. Cincy down 10-0. Cleveland down 17-0. Green Bay last night down 19-0. These slow starts, particularly by the defense, not being able to stop teams on the opening possession, but then our offense not being able to slow the bleeding until it's late in the half or into the third quarter. And we saw that again last night where the offense really didn't get going until the last possession of the first half. Your guys' thoughts on these slow starts and how can this team get off to better starts? Because you're going to have to get off to a good start against Houston this weekend or Deshaun Watson will crush you. What have you guys seen that continuously causes this team to get off to slow starts?
Well,
Two-Tone, we'll go with you first.
Yeah.
I mean, at times it was where we wouldn't start the game running with Derrick Henry. Like we maybe like on first down we would try to pass the ball. You know, we definitely got to be continuous and run the ball on first down with Derrick Henry and not try it, in between. Also, too, is just our offensive line has been questionable. I know we're not giving up a bunch of sacks, but Tannehill, if he's thrown off rhythm just by any fraction of a second, he's definitely gonna be gonna have a long game. It's gonna be a long day for him if he's not on point and getting that ball out and make sure that guys are where they're supposed to be. So any destruction or any distraction to our offense, that throws us off for sure. That'd be my take.
Weeze?
Let me ask you a question, Kim Moore. And all these starts were all these scored by passing touchdowns to start the game off?
That I do not know. But what I do know is that the teams did pass to get downfield.
Right.
Because I know Roethlisberger in that game. I know Burrow in that game. Baker Mayfield started off passing the ball because they didn't run the ball a lot with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt early in that ball game against us. And last night, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers was passing the ball downfield. So the passing game has hurt us early in ball games. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because I remember the Cleveland. I remember Landry scored the first touchdown, and last night I remember Devontae Adams scored the first touchdown. I got to look into see if Cincinnati they threw the ball in the first time, but I mean, it seems like when teams expose us, it just seems like it's on those routes. It just seems like they're able to figure out what our weaknesses. It's like we got an Achilles weakness on defense with our cornerbacks right now. I think we need to get more of our running backs involved too. Right. I think it's a little a shame that Darrington Evans has more kick return attempts than rushing attempts.
He's been hurt though. So we gotta. He just now got back into it, but last night we definitely should have used him.
He only had one rushing attempt for 3 yards. I mean,
checkdowns, man. That's how Aaron Rodgers was slicing us with those checkdowns too.
Yeah, and
opening it up with those long ones.
McNichols, I don't think he had one rush. We gotta rotate. We gotta rotate our running backs. Give Henry a break. Don't leave all the attention on Henry. I feel like we rushed him 23 times, but only 98 yards. He deserves a lot more than that, and I think we got to get the running backs involved too. It's been tough, but hey, we're holding our heads high. We're doing good right now. I think that Adoree', I think last night was a wake up game for him. It's like I personally thought Malcolm Butler should have been on Adoree' the whole game. I mean, Malcolm Butler should have been on Devontae Adams the whole game.
I thought so too.
I think they put too much pressure on Adoree'. They're like, "Hey, Adoree', you're our best guy. You're our go-to guy. Get out there." Hey, Devontae Adams, he's been playing. Adoree', he's just back for a full game. So I think that they kind of should have eased him into that role. There's a lot of pressure. you could tell Devontae Adams, I mean, he's a number one receiver, but I would have preferred Butler having that presence of that physical presence on Devontae all night instead of us switching it up with Dory here, Butler there. I feel like second half they put Butler more on Adams, but it was like, hey, it was like at that point in time, it's like, man, the damage already been done, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, if you take a look at the offense, the way it was being ran, the one word that comes to mind is predictable. You could tell what the Titans were going to do before they did. First down, run, maybe gain of 1 or 2. Second down, pass, incomplete, and now you're in third and long. You're already in third and long. You already set yourself back. So instead of that, why don't you come out, try passing on first down? Then if it's second, if it's first down, you maybe get like 7-8 yards on a pass. Then you could go 2nd and 2. You could run with Derrick Henry. And I mean, try to show some passes with Derrick Henry in the game. I mean, It's like they're afraid to throw Derrick Henry the ball a little bit. Tell Derrick Henry, hey, look, come out here, run a little crosser, run a little drag route, get you across the middle in space. It's like they're afraid to try some different things with him because, I mean, I know he can't really run like that. I mean, hey, Derrick Henry got a little speed, put him on a linebacker, have him do a go route, see if he can go for that, And I mean, just try something different with that. And Tone, you hit it. On 3rd and 4, you could at least have Henry on the field. You give that illusion of, okay, I don't know if they're running. I don't know if they're passing. Right. You take him off. You bring in McNichols, you automatically know it's a pass.
Right.
You're like.
You saw what it did for Tannehill. You saw what it did for Tannehill. He took off. He showed the run.
Exactly.
And then the hole was right there, and my man was gone. He already had a step ahead, maybe 2 steps ahead at that point.
He turned into a cheetah.
That play works to perfection.
That
beautiful. Play works every single time they run it. It works. It has never failed. Every time they happen, and they mainly run it in goal line. They run the goal line or maybe short yard situation where everybody think Henry getting the ball, he fakes it to him, that read option, and then Tannehill, I think he thought it was a single high safety, and he just took off for the hills, and it was over on that one. On that particular play, it was beautiful. But, yeah, predictable is the word I like to call it, and it seemed like when we had to go into a passing situation, it was like, okay, yeah, they're uncomfortable in this situation. And, Tanny was seeming to be a little bit tentative and, trying to fit. He threw 2 bad interceptions and probably should have threw like a couple more. Looked like he was going to throw about 4 interceptions in that game.
Savage dropped 1. He took off one of them, but he dropped one of them. So he had opportunity for 2.
He had a pick 6.
So I'm with
you. That was
a
pick 6 if he had it.
But the pressure was coming. His timing was thrown off, and that's where our offensive line comes into play. Questenberry, Nate Davis, Roger Saffold. I even see Marshall Newhouse out there playing right tackle. Dennis Kelly was getting burnt, multiple times. So, the
offensive line really struggled last night. I think for the first time in a long time, really in pass protection, where everyone was breaking down. Nate Davis broke down. Quisenberry broke down a couple of times. Kelly broke down. And I saw that we ran the ball to the right a lot last night instead of to the left. We normally run behind Saffold most of the time. But to me, this offense, they're going to have to be able to pick up the defense in these situations, because when you look at these numbers, you're down by double digits in the first and second quarter of these football games. And these are 4 of the 5 losses. The only other game that we lost was the Indy game where we had the special teams, with the backup punter. But other than that, just getting off to these slow starts has been our bugaboo. And I think if we can get that fixed, if a team goes down and score, the offense has to come back and respond. They can't wait 2, 3, 4 possessions to get into a rhythm. And to me, that kind of falls on Arthur Smith. It's like if we have the opening drive, he has a great game plan to go downfield on the opening drive. But if we're responding to a drive, it seems like whatever he's cooked up doesn't work. So he's going to have to get better, in my opinion, in having this ball club respond once another team scores, particularly early in the first quarter.
I got a question.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. Go right ahead. I ain't mean to cut you off.
Well, no, what I was going to ask was going to lead into, maybe a little more timely. So you go ahead and take care of what you had to ask, what you were gonna say. Sorry, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll put it like this. One play that definitely might have changed the game offensively was on the first drive. On that first drive, it looked like, okay, they kind of moving, they doing their normal thing. Everything was going good. Started to stall a little bit, and here comes fourth down. You're at about the 33-yard line. It's about a 50-yard field goal. And I don't know if Vrabel got spooked by that kick going out of bounds, thinking, oh, God, Kostowski might miss it. We know he's pretty much money from 50 and beyond. And
right.
I use pretty much because I could be wrong. But the fact is, they decided to punt the ball. I'm thinking in that situation, you're already down 7-0. You either try to go for the points or you go for it on fourth down. There was, punting it. I understand we got the best punter in the game. You're thinking Penn Rogers deep, make him go about 90 yards, which obviously he was doing that at will. But I just think that was a bad mistake in coaching. I'm thinking they should have either maybe tried forward with the points. Kostowski's kicked in that type of weather before, and in New England. So I think he would have been okay, maybe. But I want to get y'all thoughts on that first particular drive.
My thoughts on that, I actually disagree with you. I like punting the football there. Now, Curran punted it into the end zone, which was unfortunate because I think the goal there was to try to pin them down inside the 10-yard line. And that way, if you can try to get a 3 and out, then you get the ball back around midfield and you can try and go down and score on your second opportunity. I didn't want him to kick a field goal there, particularly because of the weather conditions, because kicking in the snow on grass, and yes, Gostkowski has done it before in Foxborough, but I believe in Foxborough they play on turf. That field in Lambeau, that's a different type of something. So if you miss that field goal, then you're giving the ball right back to Aaron Rodgers at the 40-yard line. So in my opinion, I like the decision to punt. Unfortunately, the kick went in the end zone.
Okay.
Obviously, it could have went either way. If it would have worked out in our favor, we would have been like, all right, good play or good call, Vrabel. But at the end of the day, I would have went for it. I would have either went for it on fourth down or I would have went for the field goal, just because of Gostkowski being able to hit those 50 and beyond, and playing in those severe weather conditions. So I'm gonna have to go with Blue Enforcer on that one. I think I probably would have been a little more riskier than trying to be more methodical. Because at the end of the day, you're out there, and it's not going to be perfect. So you're gonna have to make a move somewhere and be aggressive, and that's where I feel like we lacked last night, is that we weren't aggressive. We were not the aggressors last night. We were not the dictators. We went out there. We were letting them just do what they wanted to do. They were having a blast, man, and seeing Devontae Adams with that crown on the sideline, man, how disrespectful was that? How disrespectful
that was.
What are you the king of? You only maybe touchdowns, but you're not leading the league in receptions and yards. So that mental game killed us, and that's where I felt like that's why we lost right then and there. Even from the coaches, we were scared, and we got to admit that, and we got to go week 17. Now we got to handle business. Now it's win or go home.
All right, Weez, what were your thoughts, man?
I'm a little torn. I'm leaning a little bit more with Kenmore. You got to play the field position. Tannehill, he missed 2 passes right there. He missed 2nd and 7 to one to Smith, and then on 3rd and 7 he missed to I think Frisker. So it's like you got to play the field position. You got to be smart. I think the punt was smart. We were trying to be aggressive. It just wasn't clicking right in the beginning of the game. We went out there passing. Henry was getting stopped. He wasn't gaining that many yards. I agree with Kenmore. I think the punt is reasonable. Now, you got to play field position in these type of situations. Granted, the Packers play in the weather in the snow, but you got to play for field position. Football is all about chess, not checkers. So, unfortunately, it did go into the end zone, but hey, I agree. You punt it in those situations. It's tough. I don't know. I'm torn. I can see it. I can see it both ways.
You agree with me? You can stop right there.
I can see it both ways. I'm torn.
Oh, come on to the dark side. Come on to the dark side.
Right, man.
I'm torn.
Well, and my question was, we're definitely putting Arthur Smith on the hot seat here, and he's been in the discussion. Maybe he might get a head coaching position after this year. I don't even think he's ready. What are your guys' thoughts?
I agree. I agree 1,000%. He's not ready yet.
Because it's more than just calling plays. You have to be ready to. Now, I have no idea if he's ready to be a CEO of an organization like Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur was only the offensive coordinator for 1 year. Now, 2 years in Green Bay. They got to the championship game last year, and they're the Super Bowl favorites this year. So I have no idea what kind of acumen he has behind the scenes as far as a leader of men. He's he's a very good play caller, but I want to see that next level. I want to see you not allow your team to get down 19-0 before your team scores a point. I want to see you be able, that team scores a touchdown, we go down and score a touchdown.
Right.
That defensive coordinator makes an adjustment, we make an adjustment. They came out last night, Green Bay, with 5 down linemen and 3 linebackers to stop Derrick Henry.
They came out ready.
What are you going to do, Arthur Smith, to counter that?
Right.
Where was Cameron Batson last night? He caught 1 pass. We didn't see him in shotgun. We didn't see him on a jet sweep. We didn't see any of those guys use their speed. Where's Khalif Raymond? Why haven't we schemed him open? Send him downfield on a deep route. So I need to see the next level from Arthur Smith before I want to make him a head coach.
That's facts. I'm in full agreement with that. Yep, I'm in full agreement there. No argument from me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, again, I mean, he should know something about being a CEO. I mean,
his daddy, man.
I work for his pops.
Right.
I work for his pops.
Yeah, hey, I'm out in Shelby County, man. Shout out to my family in Shelby County, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I work for FedEx, so I'm like, I work for his pops. I'm thinking you should pick up a few things on how to be a CEO of a team, because your pops does it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I just don't think, I mean, yeah, he was getting some hot looks early, but I don't think he's ready yet. I think another year, I mean, we got to have something where we keep this sustainable and keep this going. Maybe he'll be ready for that. And then we got to have somebody ready to groom up to come behind him. Maybe Pat O'Hare, the quarterback coach, might be next in line after that. But I think what I want to know is, it seemed to me the Tennessee Titans were playing against a 12, well, some people say the refs were a 12th defender. Honestly, a 12th defender for me, and this was the Packers' secret weapon, was the weather itself. The weather was a weapon. Weather was definitely a weapon, and it was used against us in every way possible.
My theory is that, they had a 53-man roster out on the field plus 7 officials. So they were out there, with 60 men on the field. 60 against 53 is going to win every single time.
Plus the weather make that 61.
There you go, man.
That's perfect example right there.
And y'all led me into my next little graphic here.
He's not. Oh man, he's not offsides.
Wow. I mean, he's actually behind nearly everyone on the defensive line there. And then they call offsides on that play. Green Bay did not have a single penalty last night. I felt like we were playing Tom Brady and the New England Patriots all over again at their heyday. But do you guys think that the bad calls, the bad calls hurt us? How much do you think the bad calls hurt us last night?
They hurt us. Yeah, bad. It took away all our momentum. Every time we had some momentum going, here we go. They want to call that back. Amani Hooker got us down to the 18-yard line. And thank God for that sack that we got on that 4th down right after that.
Yeah.
But, and also too, clearly the line judge was right there, and you see his foot out of bounds. And it was like
he was looking right at it.
looking right at it. You had the best view in the house, and how'd you miss that?
Not only that, when are these calls not reviewed? You know, every time, hey, the last play's
Right.
under review. They did not do that at all. They're like, go ahead, hurry up.
But this is what happened with that. Yes, that call was probably the bigger call of the two. Because I mean, yes, we got the sack behind that blocked field goal, which is ridiculous. But this one is far worse. For two reasons. Number one, that should have been caught and that should have been stopped right there. It would have been about the Titans 43-yard line instead of down inside of the 10. Number two, it resulted in a touchdown in that drive. But number three on that, how did that happen? When the replay was showing up, like you're getting to see the replay of that, I'm thinking, oh my God, Vrabel, you got to challenge that. But what is Rodgers doing? Rodgers probably figured, or somebody told him, hey, you better run the ball quick. Fire. Get on the ball quick. Aaron Rodgers got them on the ball so fast, and by the time that the replay was done, and Collinsworth and Al Michaels were trying to talk about the replay, Aaron Rodgers trying to snap the ball, so we had no chance to get that reviewed. And I mean, that was messed up by the refs, number one. But number two, I hate to do this. I gotta give Rodgers credit. He knew it was like, oh, that could be a questionable call. Let me get them to the line. Let's get this play off so they can't review it. And he got it off so we can review.
He tried to get us earlier in the game, having 12 defenders on the field. He almost got us. You know, except
the ref stopped that.
Yeah, the ref stopped it.
He's a master at that. He is a master of getting free plays.
No, nobody's in the refs though saying, "Hey, review that play." I mean, they just let Rodgers just run up to the line and
it was going so quick.
I'm like, man, because I was still looking at the replay during live TV. Like they didn't even show you the Packers lining up, right? Nope. Like they was reviewing the replay and the Packers already lined up. Like, oh well, Al Michaels like, oh, it's too late now.
Exactly.
I was listening to Mike Vrabel's radio show today in Nashville. And he was saying, and it was kind of the same thing I saw, because by the time they showed the replay, the Packers were already at the line of scrimmage about to snap the football. So it was partly the problem of NBC because they didn't have the replay ready in enough time for the guys in the booth to see it. And with the call being on the Packers sideline, obviously it's no way for Vrabel to see that clear across the field. But in my opinion, you should have a situation where if the other team is running down and you know they're trying to quick snap, have somebody fall down and fake an injury.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Teams do it all the time.
Right.
That you find yourself
all the time.
To look at the replay, and then you can make a decision on if you need to challenge. Now, Vrabel is one of the most intelligent coaches when it comes to rules. He kind of dropped the ball on that one because you have to instruct one of those players, hey, man, lay down, 30 seconds, you got a cramp, give us time to look at the replay.
Or could have called the time. I mean,
absolutely.
Even though, and I mean, I would have said, even though I know it's a pretty valuable thing to have, call a timeout. Because if you call a timeout, you see the replay be like, oh, yeah, I could challenge that. Because it looked like, even though he was trying to get his communication together from upstairs, it looked like he was having that red flag in his hand. And, you know, if all else fails, you get the final say. If you feel like, you know what, I should take a look at, let's take a look at that. Why are they running up so fast? Oh, whoa. It might be something. So, yeah, Vrabel kind of dropped the ball and lost at his own game on that one.
They just kept interchanging the defense. Play after play. There was too much going on on the sidelines. There's a lot of weaknesses and strong points of the guys that we do have. So they're trying to get different guys in for different kind of looks. So that had a lot to do with it too, unfortunately. So we got to make sure we're on top of it. And that's another thing. We got outcoached. It goes right into that. It plays hand in hand. Right. Well, hey, Ken, I didn't mean to cut you short, but D Weez and I we got to pop out because we got to get prepared for a few things we got going on later on.
We got you guys' show coming up in a little bit. I'll hop over there and check you guys out in a few minutes.
For sure.
Me and Truth will finish up here. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. Let everybody know
Absolutely.
where to pop over to your show so they can check it out.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. You could pop over to Two Tone Zone. It's one word. It's the number 2 Tone Zone, all one word. So we're going on here about 7:15 or so. So yeah, feel free to chime in the conversation, and we can also find us on Instagram. That's _official Two Tone Zone. Also on Twitter, that's at Two Tone Zone Show on Twitter. So, Chris, man, it was nice to meet you, my brother, man. Finally, I'm glad we got a chance to do this, man. Ken, thank you for setting it up, man. It's been a pleasure just kicking it with y'all, and just talking that Titan talk.
All right, no problem, man. Shoot me the link, and then I'll hop up on your show once we get done here.
Okay, man. I will. I'll do that right now. Yep. God bless y'all, man.
I'll definitely be watching.
Yes, sir. Yep. Appreciate you.
All right, good deal, good deal. All right, D Weeze and Mr. Two Tone, they're gonna head over to their show, and me and Blue Enforcer we'll finish it up here as we look back on the Packers' big win over our Titans, 40-14 on Sunday Night Football. Now, something that I always do on my show, we call it the good, the bad, the concerning. We just kind of went through the bad with the bad calls last night, the questionable coaching last night. So let's talk about a little bit of the good from last night. And for me, it was seeing Ryan Tannehill on that 45, 46-yard touchdown run. We always see Tannehill, run for 10 yards, 17 yards. To see him outrun the defense in the snow for nearly 50 yards, that was highly impressive of Ryan Tanner Wheels, as we like to call him sometimes.
Yeah, that was again, that was a great play call. That play always seems to work. It works every time. It has never failed. And I had to remember, I'm like, that's Tannehill running? I'm like, he was a receiver at Texas A&M. So I'm like, I didn't think he had them kind of wheel, but I'm like, okay, that was impressive. I like that. I mean, as far as finding good, I mean, there wasn't really a lot of good to find. I will say David Long Jr. I mean, I have to admit, David Long was about the only one on the defense that seemed like he gave a damn. It just seemed like it. I mean, everybody else just seemed like they didn't want to be there. It just seemed like it was just not good. I mean, I know the D-line was kind of trying, and, Wyatt Ray got the 1 sack, and we were all going crazy about that. Like, he got a sack. He got a sack. I mean, that, and, I mean, the blocked field goal, which should have stood, was very good. But David Long Jr., I think, was very impressive with that. And there is a bad and concerning part with that position group that I'll mention, but David Long absolutely was one of the very few goods of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll roll right into the concerning. I have something set up for my concerning, but I'll let you take the lead. What was concerning about what you found or what you saw last night, or possibly what you see going forward leading into the Houston game coming up this Sunday?
Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to talk about this, and it's like beating a dead horse. This defense has me highly concerned. Before, I would say, you know what? We go into a game, we don't fear no team. We don't need to fear no team. Yeah, that's kind of changed now. I'm like, there's a team or two. I'm like, oh, Lord, I don't want to go up against them. Kansas City being one. And, I mean, a lot of people are acting like Buffalo is like the second coming of God. Like, oh, my God, Buffalo is so scary. I don't want to play them. I'm like, we did just kick the crap out of Buffalo with this same defense. So I'm like, Buffalo, they're good. And, I mean, at their place, which I would rather be here. If it's there, I can see where it's a concern, especially with bad weather there too. But the one thing that I think was two things that were very concerning to me. One, Corey Davis not having any catches is bad, and you're a guy that's trying to get re-signed. And two, Jared mentioned this on Stillman and Company today. I'm starting to agree with him. As much as I banged on the table for this guy, I think it's time for Rashaan Evans to go. I think Rashaan Evans has got to go. He stinks. He's giving unnecessary penalties. Vrabel has said it time and time again, don't do things that will hurt the team. And that's all Rashaan Evans has been doing, is hurting this team. And I know this might be me going a bit overboard, but Rashaan Evans, I'm just saying, do something to keep Jayon Brown. Let David Long start. You get a young up-and-coming linebacker maybe behind him. But Rashaan Evans, he does nothing but hurt the team to me. And that's just a few of the things I found concerning, but I'm not going to say too much.
All right. Well, for me, my man, the thing I'm concerned about is next week. I am concerned about next week. I am concerned about the playoff possibilities. Here's a look at the week 17 schedule right now as it is. We all know that if the Titans win, they are in. The NFL has adjusted the timing of the schedule to make it very interesting. The Browns and the Steelers, Browns have to win. The two games that really matter to us are the Ravens and the Bengals, the Dolphins and the Bills. The Ravens are going to beat the Bengals. I have no doubt that the Ravens are going to beat
agree.
them. Dolphins and Bills could be interesting because the Bills could still be in play for the number 2 seed, which means they would have home field against everyone but Kansas City. So how important will Buffalo play that game? Will they play their starters and try to get the number 2 seed, or will they rest their starters against the Dolphins?
And the thing about, I'm sorry, I won't try to cut you off there.
No, go ahead.
But the thing about that particular game is that if the Dolphins lose, the Titans are in. I want to say they play at 1:00. So if the Dolphins lose, the Titans are in before they even take the field. They're in the playoffs before they even kick off.
Correct.
But
if they win, then we have to win.
We have to.
We have to win because we know that the Colts are going to beat the Jaguars.
Which will lead to that doomsday scenario. Because if the Browns win, the Ravens win, the Dolphins win, and we lose to the Texans, that's the doomsday protocol. We could be on the outside of the playoffs, and that would be an unmitigated disaster of epic proportions if that happens. Because if we win the division, nothing to worry about. And there's a chance the Colts could be out even at 11-5. You know, if we win, Ravens win, Dolphins win, Colts could be out of the whole picture, even at 11-5. So, and that's the shocking thing. There's going to be at least a 10-win team or even 11-win team that's not even going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, there will be at least a 10-win team and possibly an 11-win team that doesn't make the playoffs. If everybody wins, the Colts are out. The Colts need one of those 4 teams to lose. The Ravens, the Browns, the Dolphins, or us. And my fear is that the Dolphins win, they beat Buffalo, and then everything is on the line against Houston and Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt. And J.J. Watt went on this big, long tirade after the game, you know, challenging everybody in the locker room to come out and play hard, and everybody needs to show up. And I don't know if that could go one of 2 ways. Everybody can follow behind JJ and play hard. Everybody can say, you know what, dude, it's week 17. I'm going to protect myself because I'm going to be a free agent next year, and it's going to be a new coach and a new GM, and I probably won't be here anyway. So that can go either way on how the Texans come out next week. But as you mentioned, this is the doomsday scenario. This is the only scenario where the Titans miss the playoffs. The Ravens win. The Ravens are going to beat the Bengals. The Dolphins game is the key game because Indy is going to beat the Jags. So the key game next week that you all need to be watching is the Miami Buffalo game, and you can keep an eye on Buffalo tonight. Right now, they're struggling with New England 10-9. So keep an eye on that ball game as well to see what the motivation is going to be for the Buffalo Bills next week. But if we lose to Houston, we finish the season 10-6. We started 5-0. That will mean we would have finished the season 5-6 in our last 11 games. By the way, guys, if you didn't know, in our last 10 games, we're only a 500 team. We're 5-5 in our last 10 games.
Yeah, and I mean that's the scary thing. And I mean, that may not matter much, but if Buffalo loses to the Patriots tonight, we move up to the 3 spot because we have the tiebreaker. We have the tiebreaker over the Bills right now. But still, like you said, all we got to do is take care of our business. We take care of our business against Houston, we're in, we win the division, nothing else to worry about. We need to worry about us. Now, that J.J. Watt piece, I heard it. As much as I hate it coming from a division rival with this big, massive game coming up, I have to admit, as much as I don't like to, I have to applaud J.J. Watt on that, because I think somebody from the Titans needs to say that exact same thing. Somebody needs to say something like that, because it seems to me the Titans, I think, acted like they had everything locked up. Be like, you know what? We still got week 17. We'll be fine either way. And I mean, I was guilty of that as well, thinking, you know what? Colts lost, so this game really won't matter in the grand scheme of things. In a way, it did. So the fact that J.J. Watt said all that, I mean, they're probably going to be a little bit motivated. Deshaun Watson, even though he got hurt, looks like he's still going to try everything in his power to go, and that's a dangerous thing. So if I'm the Titan, they better be ready, because if they're not and they end up out of the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, y'all are not gonna want to miss the tirade that I go on, because I will be livid beyond words, and everybody's gonna get some blame. I'm not gonna leave anybody out.
I mean, if you lose a game to the Cincinnati Bengals and you lose a game to the Houston Texans, you don't deserve to go to the playoffs. And the
Agreed.
Titans have led this division for 14 of the 16 weeks. The only 2 weeks we didn't lead is when Indy beat us on, I believe it was the Thursday night game, and then the following week, and then we went back to Indy and won that. We've led this division for 14 of the 16 weeks, and it would be a crying shame for us to lose this division on the final weekend of the season.
But I mean, again, not saying that will happen, but if it does, we only have ourselves to blame. We only have ourselves to blame, because, we didn't, like, there will be games we look at and think we should have took care of business better. Cincinnati would have been one of those games. The Cleveland game, if we came out better than we did. The first game against Indy is another. If Gostowski doesn't miss that kick against Pittsburgh, we don't know what would have happened in overtime. I think we would have had a good shot at winning in overtime, honestly. So, as it said, yeah, if we lose, we could be out.
Unless it's not definite, Devin. We can lose and still get in, but we would need either the Colts to lose, the Ravens to lose, or Miami to lose. One of those 3 teams would have to lose, and the only realistic shot is having Miami lose at Buffalo, because I don't see a way that Indy's going to lose to the Jags. I don't see a way that Baltimore is going to lose to Cincinnati.
Although Cincinnati's put together a couple of wins, so I mean, they beat Pittsburgh. Nobody saw that coming, and they beat Houston. So I mean, anything can happen. But I agree with you. I don't see it happening. But
don't bet the mortgage on it. I'll put it that way.
I hear what you're saying. I hear exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. And then the final piece of business here tonight. Derrick Henry. Right now he has 1,777 yards on the season. He needs 233 yards against Houston. Now, winning, of course, is the main priority, but is there a shot for Derrick Henry to get the 233 yards necessary that he needs for the victory here tonight? We're going to have to find that out. Derrick had a huge game in the final game last year in the season finale to win the rushing title. So I think if the Titans can build up a big enough lead in the ball game where they have the opportunity to give Derrick a shot at the 2,000 yards late in the fourth quarter, I can see them going for it, but it will not be a priority, but it could be something that's necessary for us to win that game. You try to chew up clock, you try to win the time of possession, and if A.J. Brown is compromised, which he's been dealing with that ankle injury for the last 2 to 3 weeks now, and we saw him limping around last night in the snow. Do you think it will be a necessity for Derrick to get over 200 yards for us to beat Houston next week?
I mean, honestly enough, Derrick doing any kind of damage in this game is gonna be necessary, and I'm pretty sure the Beast King, he's probably a little ticked off. He's probably not in the greatest of moods after what happened last night. And we know when he is not in a good mood the next game, that defense gets it, and they get it bad. So, I mean, I don't know if 2,000 yards will happen. It is very possible. I did have a crazy scenario where he could have broke the record. I think that one is pretty much out. But 2,000 yards to me, 233 yards. He ran for like 225 against the Jags, so it is very, very possible. I think he's gonna fall just a little short. I think he may get to 200. I don't know if he'll get to 230, but because you kind of want to rest him for the first game, but you don't want to leave nothing to chance. If you can run Derrick Henry, and he probably wants to run, give him the rock. Give him the rock. Let Corey get his 55 yards, get to 1,000. I don't know if AJ will get to 1,000. He may still have a shot as well. But this could be a pretty big day for at least 2 or 3 guys in this game if it all goes right.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And of course, in case you guys are just joining us, the breaking news from earlier today, Stephen Gostkowski placed on the COVID-19 list. There's a possibility that he could miss this Sunday's game against Houston, which, there's as many problems as the Titans have had with the special teams this year, from Brett Kern being hurt, Gostkowski early in the year being out for a while. I mean, just the turmoil that we've had around this special teams unit, with the defense being as bad as it is, you cannot have the other third, your special teams, in question going into the playoffs, going into what is virtually a playoff game. The playoffs virtually start next week. Next week, it's round 0 of the playoffs. The playoffs start next week. And to have Gostkowski out, that's going to be a major, major blow if he cannot participate next week.
I agree. And I think now this could be some good news. I think both Adam Humphries and Breon Borders were on short-term IR. I don't know if they'll be activated this week or not. But I mean, we could possibly have those 2 guys back, and I know everybody will probably harp on Breon Borders because he had that bad game against Cleveland. But for the most part, he was one of the bright spots of this defense, to be honest. And that, he played very well. And so, I mean, yeah, Breon Borders probably would have struggled last night as well. But I just think that if he's able to make it back off of injury, I think that's going to help. Maybe Adam Humphries. I think he was still feeling some lingering effects from the concussion, maybe. So that may have, hampered him. But, yeah, you don't want your other 2/3 of your team going down when your defense is as horrible as it is. And that could definitely be a factor. Let's hope it don't have to come down to field goals and we have to keep going for 2.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Well, thank you, my man, for joining us here tonight. That's my man, the Enforcer, the Blue Enforcer, joining us here tonight. Titans the day after the Titans lose on Sunday Night Football, 40-14. The breaking news this afternoon. Gotskowski goes on the COVID list, so he possibly could be out for this Sunday. We'll find out more about that later in the week. So we want to thank you guys for joining us. On your way out, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Please hit the notifications button so that you'll know when I'll have my preview shows and when I'll have my post-game shows. You can follow me on Instagram at Kenmore Sports. You can also follow me on Twitter at Kmore Sports. So that will do it for tonight. We thank you guys for joining us. Titans lose it last night 40-14 to the Green Bay Packers. They go into week 17 having to defeat the Houston Texans to try and win the AFC South. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.